Well, good morning. And as I said before, I'm Nan Bankston. You all know me, and I'm filling in for Reverend Stephen this morning. And it's really my honor to fill in for him this morning while he's vacationing with his family. I know that it's very important for a minister to have that time of renewal and relaxation. And so I'm glad we can do this. I am continuing today with our Centers for Spiritual Living global theme, Unchained Spirituality, for the month of July. And I just wonder how many of you are curious about my music selections this morning. Our opening song, oh wow, how many of us remember that Dusty Springfield tune from 1964? It seems that things were simpler then, at least to me it does. There were folks who sang about all the things that a tortured teenager and anyone in a relationship really should know. And most of them included a remedy. And just like Dusty's, it said, if you're going to want somebody to love you or accept you or you can fit in, you have to do these things. And Dusty's saying, if you want him to love you, you got to wear your hair just for him. Well, I got to tell you, I'd probably be out of luck on that one. Although I did do my hair specially for you all today. And so these were all prescriptions for success in love. And you might wonder why I would choose a song like When You Wish Upon a Star to introduce my talk, The Truth Will Set You Free. Well, stay tuned, and I will be bringing them in as we go along. As humans, we have a tendency to claim as real everything we have heard, seen, read, experienced, and lived. All of this is seen as reality, how it is, how it came to be, through the beliefs established around the learned experiences we have. And language forms most of our imprints of reality. We think in language and we communicate with it. Beliefs are just thoughts we keep thinking. And almost all of our beliefs have been built on condition or precedent rather than principle, which is spirit. From the time we are born, we are confronted with precedent, or as the dictionary defines it, an earlier event or action that is regarded as an example or guide to be considered in subsequent similar circumstances. Let's consider that for a moment. An earlier event or action that is regarded as an example or guide to be considered in subsequent similar circumstances. It doesn't say that it should be regarded as the gold standard. But for most of us, that's what we've been taught about conditional reality, the reality that continues to be created from precedent. How many times do we hear folks say, my mom or dad or grandma or whomever always did it this way, or we've been doing it this way since the beginning of time. Now, there's a sobering thought for me, at least. And what is interesting, even more interesting, is that whenever that way, whatever it is that has been going on a long time, meets a new idea, there is always resistance. And then we hear, well, it's always worked okay, or I've never heard any complaints before. More often than not, any shift from precedent is met with resistance. Precedent controls our thoughts, our beliefs, and our reactions on so many levels. And many times, all we do is just complain about things not getting better in our lives or the world. We get stuck in our ruts of beliefs, born of language that we have heard since the day we arrived on the planet, even if it's not working for us. Currently, we're living in a world that is not working for all. It's not working for many of us, and there's a lot to complain about. We have the pandemic. We have race issues that are as old as time and have an especially ugly history here in our own country. We have prejudice and discrimination and harassment of any groups that are different, LGBTQ, other religions, Muslims. Well, maybe those are words we don't want to hear. The ecology of our planet is in dire condition through no fault of its own. We take, we use, we consume, but that's the way we've always done it. That's the way we've always heard it should be with precedent, beliefs, and behaviors. And you know, that reminds me of another old song, Carly Simon's song, That's the Way I've Always Heard It Should Be. You know, in it, she's talking to the fellow who wants to marry her. And she sings about the reality of her friends' married lives as she observes it. My friends from college, they're all married now. They have their houses and their lawns. They have their silent noons, tearful nights, angry dawns. Their children hate them for the things they're not. They hate themselves for what they are. And yet they drink, they laugh, close the wound, and hide the scar. You know, that was back in 1971, almost 50 years ago. I know I'm dating myself and maybe some of you, but how many of us do still or have done that in our lives? Close the wounds and hide the scars. How many of us are still doing that around the issues of racism, criminal and social injustice, ecology, economic stability? How much has changed for many people? Maybe those are questions we don't want to hear either. And maybe for today it's all too dark, painful, and seemingly hopeless on too many levels right now. Well, wait, I'm here to tell you the good news. Principle is never bound by precedent. We know that in our philosophy, that our thoughts have a direct effect on creating our reality. So what thoughts are we using? And what words are forming those thoughts? And bingo, we are back to Dusty singing Wishin' and Hopin'. And really, what's wrong with wishing and hoping? Wishing and hoping is a perfect scenario because our words directly impact our truths and our freedom. And today, we're going to take a little trip through the land of wish, hope, and try to see how those words we use every day connect us to precedent or principle. When we create from old thoughts and beliefs, like the ones from songs like Dusty Springfield or Carly Simon or so many others that we sang along with all the time, or ones that we may even be singing along with today, are we based in precedent, what's always been? Or are we choosing to have our thoughts originate from principle, the inspiration of spirit, where infinite possibilities exist? Just what is the definition of wish? You know I love my words and I love to know what they mean. Well, wish is to feel or express a strong desire or want for something that is not easily attainable or probably will not happen. Well, that seems like a pretty faulty premise to me. When we are hoping, we have given our power to the unformed someday that may never come. And when we try, we are unconsciously admitting and setting ourselves up to the underlying belief that we might just fail. As Yoda said, try, there is no try. There is only do. And Yoda knew how to access the Force, that infinite power of Star Wars that Luke Skywalker had to learn how to utilize for the good of all. And how many times did Luke have to use that lightsaber before he got it to work right for him? As I recall, he chopped up quite a few things before he got it just right. Well, just like Luke, we are unique, individuated creations of the infinite spirit. As such, we have all of the qualities of spirit at our fingertips, even closer than our breath. Our lightsaber is the divine essence that exists within each of us, and each of us can access our divine power just as Luke did. We so love our fantasy worlds, don't we? I know that I do. I remember taking my son to his first movie that was the first Star Wars movie that came out. And then There's the amazing Walt Disney, who gave us great promise, images of dreams coming true. When you wish upon a star, the video we just played with Jiminy Cricket singing to all the little animals, was the great thought template we all received as a magical way of creating our dreams. You know, that song was written in 1940. World War II had begun in 1939, and it was a time of worldwide conflict. Our parents and our grandparents were looking for dreams in a shattered world too. I bet most of us know that song by heart. When you wish upon a star, makes no difference who you are. Anything your heart desires will come to you. Now, Walt had that one right. That divine essence within us knows no bias, no preference, no judgment. It creates through the law whatever we choose to think and believe. If your heart is in your dream, no request is too extreme. He got that one right too. There's no big or small for the one who made it all. So we came to be taught and believe that our wishes could create our dreams. And for generations and all around the world, Disney has created magic kingdoms for every young person and those young at heart to enjoy and reinforce the belief that wishes make dreams come true. And yet, the magic of Disney created a world of possibilities, a world where dreams could come true. And dreams, my dear ones, dreams, those are our inspirations from spirit, principle, the divine essence within us that lights our creative fires. As unique, individuated creations of the divine, it is in our most basic spiritual DNA to be creative. We're hardwired with that stuff. We have to be creative or we suffer from divine discontent. What is that? Well, that's that funky feeling when we are stuck in places, not moving, and feeling like we are in a rut. So think about this. Doesn't it follow that when we are creating from precedent, we are recreating the same old stuff? Now, some of that stuff might be good, some maybe not. Consider your own life. If you are creating that which is life-affirming, bringing joy and happiness to you and others, even if it's the same thing, it could well be considered beneficial. What about that which is not so beneficial? How many people have you known in your life who kept getting into relationships with the same kind of person, even though the last one didn't work very well? Some even marry the same person 2 or 3 or more times. Something's not working there, but there's that precedent thing. Because our words impact our truths and our freedom, wishing, hoping, and trying is a perfect scenario of the languaging, the language that keeps us caught in precedent. When we are wishing, we are affirming with a word that has built into its definition that it probably won't come true. And when we are hoping, we have given our power to the unformed someday that may never come. And when we try, we are unconsciously admitting and setting ourselves up to the underlying belief that we might just fail. When we are creating from the land of hope, wish, and try, we have diluted our intention with conditional response. And we're not creating from principle or spirit within. So what is the truth of our being? Well, we are unique emanations of the divine with a powerful divine essence within us. That essence, that spirit, is the same principle that created worlds, galaxies, the cosmos, and everything in between. It is never bound by precedent. Judge Thomas Troward taught that. It was one of the favorite teachings of Ernest Holmes that he gleaned from Thomas Troward. When we create from principle, that divine essence that inspires us from within, we are unbound in our creative abilities. We speak of infinite possibilities and potential, that is what we have closer than our breath, because we aren't just saying infinite as in quantity and how many things we can create. We are speaking infinite as another name for spirit, God, all that is. You know, we are forever connected to that spirit. It's unbreakable. We are woven into the tapestry of life, and our threads cannot fray. We are assured of that. Ernest Holmes writes in our Science of Mind text, there is a power, one power in the universe, and we can all use it. And that, my friends, is the truth that sets us free. It's okay to leave the land of wishing, hoping, and trying. The entire universe is designed to assist you, us, everyone, in becoming all we want to be and to live a life of meaning and purpose. Let's become aware of the words we use there. There are brighter horizons in our new lands. We build our awareness by using our spiritual tools. I invite you to create a tool belt of spiritual practices: prayer, meditation, visioning, contemplation, gratitude, communing with nature, radical forgiveness, chanting, or anything that brings you back to the truth of your existence. By allowing principle to guide you step by step, each of these tools become easier and easier until it becomes our nature to live in and create through principle, through spirit. We remember to use words like I do rather than try, I trust rather than hope, and I affirm rather than wish in our affirmative prayer treatments. Because our affirmative prayer treatments are affirmative. The divine essence within us is with us always. We are never alone, and we are always fully supported and abundantly prospered when we create from and with the spirit within us. You know, today is the first day of the rest of your life. Isn't it time to move out of the land of wish, hope, and try and into the vast language fields of creative spirit, where demonstrations are assured? You can drop the shackles of what others have told you to believe about yourself and life, all of those thoughts and beliefs that we acquired along the way in conditioned reality. And you can begin a journey towards the truth of who you are. We can all do this and be living the truth of who we are. Everyone deserves to live a fear-free, abundant life. That's the true nature of spirit within. You know, now more than any time before, I believe, this world and humanity needs each of us and our unique expression of spirit and our talents and our abilities and our love. It needs each of us standing in the truth that there is one power in the universe and we can all use it for good. It's ours to do, and it can begin with our next breath. And so I invite us to start right now, right from where we are, to live in the truth of principle, unbound spirit that sets us and all creation free and creates a world that works for all. And so it is, my friends, so it is. Thank you. And now, following our affirmative prayer tradition, I'd like to speak a prayer with all of us here. So just bringing to mind that one infinite loving presence that I've just talked about, that infinite divine essence that lives within each of us, that love, that beauty, that peace, that power, that life, that light. I call that forward now in this prayer. I call that forward now in a word of prayer that affirms for each of us, for those in the sound of my voice and for those who are not in the sound of my voice. I affirm and declare that the unbound spirit that is within each of us is here now, and it is ours to recognize, accept, and allow to create all our own good and to share this with all the world. I speak a word for all those who asked for prayer around the globe, asking for relief, knowing that that relief is readily available to each and every person from that light within, from that love within. And I speak a word of a love that is so great, so compassionate, that everyone's needs are met. And I am so very grateful. I am so very grateful. I speak a word for first responders who have moved through these pandemic days. I speak a word for those who are called to end racism and social and criminal injustice in our world. I speak a word for a world that is supported in unity and harmony to create and sustain ecological development in ways that Spirit knows and has, and that are available to everyone from that divine essence within. And so I call forth all of those ideas that are just waiting in the creative mind of God, that are indwelling in each of us. And I give thanks, knowing that each of us is a powerful, powerful presence for good, as the unique emanations of Spirit that each of us are. And so I give thanks. I give great, great, great good thanks from a most grateful, open heart. And I bless this time. I bless each of us here. And I release this word into the mystical, magical alchemy of love and law that always says, yes, my beloveds, yes. And together we may say and anchor and affirm, and so it is.